Good evening and welcome to another episode of the San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. We've got a exciting announcement that we're going to get into here in just a little bit. But first and foremost, wanted to talk with Jacob again. Thank you for joining us. It's good to have you on here again tonight.
Yeah, thanks. I always love the opportunity to chat with you guys, and especially to be able to honk Trinity soccer even better.
Yeah. Well, some exciting news here for Trinity University, and you were just taking part in an event there. Do you want to describe what you just got done doing there at the
Sure.
campus?
Yeah. As part of our sport management program, we do an internship panel a sport industry panel every fall. This year we had somebody from the Valero Texas Open, Valero Alamo Bowl, a graduate, a former student that works for the Spurs now on their marketing side, and then somebody at San Antonio Sports. And it's just an opportunity for them to talk about their career journeys and tips and that kind of thing for our students. And we had 40 students show up, and we had to kick them out. They so it's that's one of the things sometimes when you never know how college students are going to take advantage of opportunities. So that was a feel good for today. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's exciting. Well, our intro question for the day is, who do you have in the USL Cup? So Harry, I'll start with you, man. Who are you taking for USL 2018?
I got Phoenix Rising 3-1. Drogba.
3-1. What about you, Jose?
Like I told you before, I wanted this year. I wanted anybody to win except Cincinnati because I didn't want them to leave as champions. But then when it's down to Louisville and Phoenix, I'm kind of still resentful with Phoenix for taking our players and Sam over there. But I think it'd be looking overall the whole scope of things. I think it's time the West team won. All these guys from the East, from the old guard, keep talking the shit about the West. So I'm gonna go with Phoenix.
All right. Well, I think that was my first reaction as well, was to root for anybody but Phoenix, just because of that resentment still. But at the end of the day, the more I think about it, like, you really can't hate anything about that organization. Sam Doer's doing an excellent job. Obviously, Billy left for a reason, and he's having some success, and we'll get to compete hopefully in the USL Cup. You can't really dog him for that. Jacob, do you have any comment that you want to make on USL Cup?
Yeah, I mean that's Phoenix is a tough out. I don't know the East as well, because who cares, whatever. I too was a big Sam fan, and sad to see him go. But it'd be nice to see them win. Yeah.
Well, the West hasn't won since 2013, Sac Republic. So.
We do, right?
I would love to have the West come back, and that way next year when San Antonio wins the title, we can say, hey, the West has got it 2 in a row. But
there you go, love it.
Well, we'll find out on Thursday.
Fish to fry this weekend, though.
Yeah. Some exciting news, as we mentioned, from Trinity. Won the 2018 SCAC, their conference, for the 6th time in a row, I believe.
I think, what did I write down? I think seventh in a row winning the conference championship, I think.
Okay.
So either 6 or 7, yeah.
Okay.
17 years in a row they've been to the national tournament. So we'll go with the word.
It's an even bigger number, yeah. And speaking of that, now, were you at the game on Sunday? Went 1-1 into PKs, I believe, correct?
No, so our women hosted the conference tournament, and so I was here rooting for the Tigers, and the game times were the same. So we had the iPhone going with the live stream on the men's game, and then watching the women's game. Our women won 1-0, and fun SAFC fact, Matt Cardone's sister is the goalie for Southwestern, and I tell you, Trinity won 1-0, but it really probably should have been 3 or 4, and she channeled her brother in a way that there were 2 or 3 stops that she made that were just unbelievable.
Runs in the family.
Yeah, that's it. And she's conference goalie of the year, and so it was really clear why. But yeah, so it was fun. We've got the live game going on, and then watching the stream. That PK was Blake Lieberman, who's a junior starting goalie. He stopped the first 2, and I don't know. I don't know the time where I've seen that happen. Right, where the first 2 are not just missed, but I mean the goalie stops them, and so you just knew it's going to take an absolute miracle at this point, and so 4-2 in PKs, sure feels a lot better than 5-4, or whatever. So, but Blake Lieberman back there in the goal. I'm just looking at some of the stats now. They've got a .76 goals against average. And 3.68 goals per game. You'll usually end up on the right side of things if that's your differential. So we're excited about getting to host the first 2 rounds this weekend.
Yeah, and we were talking about that a little bit. So obviously your first match Saturday 5 p.m. Out there at Trinity. And so y'all will host the first 2 rounds, and then they select different cities to do the semi and final in?
Yeah, so we have it's first, second round, and then they do a sectional round.
Okay.
And then the semifinals and national championship site is in Greensboro, so that's determined. But that middle round, so again, kind of depending on how things shake out, it's certainly not a done deal that Trinity couldn't host the sectionals, right? If you get kind of the right number of teams to win, but given where we were last year, and sure thought that we were going to get out. We hosted the first 2 rounds last year and lost in that second round game. Coach tells his players, Coach McGinley tells them all the time, you cannot. Tourney time, you cannot take a team for granted, and we saw that, I think in the SCAC championship tournament, when it's survive and advance, people do whatever they have to do to survive.
Yep.
Well, what I thought's interesting is, assuming that Trinity beats Chapman, which, Chapman's a pretty solid team from California, it sets up a possible rematch of last year's second round where most of us expected Trinity to advance, but Mary Hardin Baylor pulled the upset, so I was kind of looking forward to that on what that would be. Saturday at 7 p.m. where the final would be at.
So the first game is Saturday, and then the second game
is Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday at 7. Yeah, but so that sets up an interesting, certainly, Coach McGinley's been in the game for a long, long time, and at Trinity in his 28th year, and he's got a pretty long memory. I guarantee if they make it, if that's the matchup, he'll let his lads know what that means.
Well, even if they don't, they get Southwestern, who they just had the double overtime. So assuming that they can get the victory in the first round, that Sunday match at 7, there should be no motivation needed, based on the matchup so far between last postseason and
well, and the great thing is just from the geography standpoint, whoever makes it through, Southwestern or Mary Hardin Baylor, it's going to be a full house.
Mm-hmm.
And if memory serves, Chapman travels pretty well too. So that early match on Saturday will be interesting. But whichever fan base makes it through, Georgetown's an hour and some change away, and Belton's 2 hours away. So that environment on Sunday will be, if Trinity's through, whoever the other side is, that environment on Sunday will be,
be electric.
If you're a soccer fan, bring your kids, bring yourself, So yeah, the fun thing too is just for me, I know no one that plays soccer would do this, or at least not admit it to anybody, but kind of projecting forward,
mm-hmm.
And that that third round matchup could potentially be a rematch with University of Chicago, who we hosted here in early September, and it was a 3-3 draw, and it was just through both overtimes, it was just a crazy game. So to think about that, you could have a third round matchup that's a rematch with, I think, Chicago's number 3 in the country and Trinity's number 5 in the country.
Right.
Well, they got into the buys, which that was the thing that kind of surprised me. Looking at the bracket, there's two buys, Chicago and Tufts on the other side.
Yeah.
So, to me, I know there was a college, somebody tweeted out that there was somebody that went undefeated in their conference play and lost, I think, in the championship game, and they didn't make the playoffs. And to me, it seemed kind of odd where you got 2 teams with a bye. Why not, if they're at large, why not have the, but it is D3 and expenses come into play with it.
Yeah, and there's for all the D3 sports, there's like a complicated formula that they use, that the number of teams that play that sport, the number of universities that host that offer that sport, and so it shakes out that the formula leads to 62 in soccer. So yeah.
Well, and not just the men's playing good soccer there at Trinity, but as you mentioned, the women's also. So can you tell us a little bit about what their schedule is going to be like for their tournament run?
So they're going up to Hardin Simmons up in Abilene, and the Trinity women open with Occidental, again, another Southern California team, and I don't know that much about Oxy, but just kind of looking at the record and how things are going, and knowing Trinity's history in the playoffs, that would be one that would be a real disappointment if we didn't get through. Hardin Simmons are hosting Puget Sound, up from Washington, and so that sets up to be a really interesting. I was just looking. I went back to 2010, so I just didn't look any further than that. But every year in the playoffs, so 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, in those 8 years, Trinity and Hardin Simmons women have played each other 5 times in the second round.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And Trinity has come out on the short end 4 of those times. So it's a tough place to play. They've won. Hardin Simmons has won a couple of national championships, I think, and so it's just a really tough draw. And Hardin Simmons right now is 6 in the country, Trinity's 13 in the country, and you just think about for folks who are fans of D1 college sports, that kind of whatever sport, to think about 6 versus 13 playing each other in the second round.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that, just kind of preparing for the show here, the thing that caught me is that the Trinity women have only allowed 3 goals all year. 2 of them were to Hardin Simmons in a loss, September 7th here in San Antonio. So outside of that loss, they only gave up 1 other goal all season.
Yeah.
So that's outstanding, but that just shows how hard, that Hardin Simmons team is.
And and they play just outstanding. They play physical soccer, but they're also they control the ball, and it's a tough. They're really good soccer team, and it's just one of those. This is one of those things we were talking about before we came online, where the way that kind of the D3 philosophy and how that works in terms of selection, it's just a tough out. That 5 of the last 8 years, you run up against the same team in the second round, and so I guess that level of closeness or proximity creates bad blood, creates rivalry, so that's exciting. But it sure would be nice if we could move past because that next batch, if we can get into that next pod, things look a lot more favorable. I mean, that's a big ask, but
Yeah, no, that looks like that's going to be pretty exciting. I was just looking here. It says 7 Cowgirls from Hardin Simmons named all ASC. So yeah, it's going to be a good matchup for sure.
Yeah, they do an outstanding job at recruiting at that place, and anyway, it's they like Hardin said, anybody in Abilene, there's not a whole lot to do on a Friday night or Saturday, so town shows up, man.
That's awesome.
It is crazy. Yeah.
That's
Do you know if
awesome.
there's a way to watch the games at all?
Yeah, so this is that's a great question. So the cool thing about the NCAA is when a school puts in their bid to host, they are required to have a live stream, and those live streams are for free. And so the easiest way for me to get there is just you just go to Google and NCAA Division III women's soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll take you to the page, and then from there you can find the live streams and the live links. I'm sure it'll be posted on at TUWS,
Mm-hmm.
The Trinity Women's Soccer Twitter account. But you absolutely follow on the live stream and come to McGinley Field and watch the games live. But if you can't make it or whatever, those games will also be again streamed live. So enjoy from the comfort of your living room or come down to McGinley Field. But there are lots of different ways to watch those games too.
And so if you come in for the Trinity game, I think you mentioned it was $6, for adults, $2 for if they're like 3 to 12 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or $2 for that. Does that get you both games, or do they clear it out in between sessions?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember this.
I think last year we stayed for both of them. We only paid for one.
I feel like you buy the night. That's the night. Again, I'm thinking also about the logistics of if you haven't been down to McGinley Field, it's a nice little spot to watch a soccer game, but the logistics of clearing that and then making people buy another ticket seemed like it'd be pretty impossible. But I tell you what, I'll get an answer. I'll get a confirmation and then send that to you guys via Twitter if that works. Yeah, because that is a good question, but I do feel like it's for the night.
You heard it here. Buy one ticket, get one free. You can say Jacob told you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that second match, even though Trinity's not going to be involved, is going to be a barn burner as well. With two Texas teams.
Yeah.
In the area.
Yeah, and again, as fans of soccer, it's there is something if you've never been, and it's D3, but this is not bad soccer, right? I mean, this is if you've never been to an NCAA tournament soccer game, it's a really fun atmosphere. And if you've never been to McGinley Field, it's a funky little cool place to watch a game. And it leads. It's not as tight a pitch as it used to be. But it's a pretty vertical game, and so teams that have pace can get up and down the pitch, and it's a fun place. Again, if you're just a fan of soccer, it's a fun venue to watch a soccer game.
Yeah, I think all three of us made it last year for the Saturday game. I didn't make it to the Sunday game, but I met all three. All three of us were there last year for the first round game.
So it's your fault we lost in the second round. Is that?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that though too, Harry, because I know when I've been out there for games before, sometimes you'll see like the other teams that they're going to play like maybe Sunday or something like that, and they'll be out there kind of scouting and watching Trinity play, that Friday night game or whatever. So it is a pretty cool atmosphere, just everybody out there watching.
Yeah, and this is again getting on the bracket, like jumping way far ahead. But if things pan out the right way, one of Coach McGinley's former players and former assistant coach Chris Garcia Prats, he coaches up at Luther, which I think is in Iowa, and they won the conference championship this year. And so if you project out and the right things happen, McGinley could be going against one of his proteges for the right to get to the the national semifinals. So stay tuned on that one, but that could be a really fun to just kind of chart how that happens.
Absolutely. Well, Jose, Harry, did you guys have anything else, or did you want to move on?
No, we're good. Like I said here, if I remember last year, they had some concessions out there. So if you get out there, you can support. I forget which club that they supported out there, but you can go out and buy some cocoa because last year it was a little chilly, and I know me and AJ went out and had some cocoa and some chips and I think a hot dog. So it was a fun time. A little area for the kids to run around. I know you brought your daughter last year as well, so they enjoyed climbing up and down the rocks.
Jose, any final words?
Yeah, just encouraging everybody to go out there, man. It's the way the seating is. It's very unique. It's like carved into the side of a hill, and definitely a different atmosphere, a different viewpoint from being in Toyota. It's more how do you say? It's more you're closer. It's more intimate. It's a more intimate feeling. So, and it's fun. It's fun watching these guys play, and they're kids, so they have all the energy in the world. So they're running up and down. It's not a slow game at all.
Yeah.
It's very vertical. I like how you had said that earlier. Definitely, yeah, for sure. And anything else that you wanted to mention, or anything else that you want to talk about before we let you go? We always love having you on.
Yeah, no, I just really appreciate, appreciate you guys, how much y'all support the local soccer scene, kind of from A to Z and everything in between. And so just again, thanks for promoting the beautiful game in the city. Again, if you haven't come out to McGinley Field for a game, there's not a better time to come have your first experience. If you're so inclined, our women's soccer team is dang good, right? What Harry said, 4 goals all year, 3 goals all year. So, plug into that free stream and watch some good soccer this weekend.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah, I know. I'll be hoping to see Phil Dueñas. I know he's kind of battled some quad injuries and stuff like that this season, but I saw that he was back healthy. So really hoping that maybe he can get some minutes in the playoffs, because he's something really fun to watch too, along with Jake and a lot of talented kids out there. So can't wait to watch some soccer with you this weekend. Again, thank you for joining us. And for those of you watching, we'll be right back. We've got that exciting announcement. But again, congratulations to Trinity, another SCAC championship. And good luck on y'all's NCAA tournament run.
Thanks a bunch, guys. Y'all have a great night.
All righty. Thanks again.